How you doing?
Hello, is this Dazzle?
Yeah, it's Dazzle.
Yes, how you doing? I want to know if I can book a reading or if you're available for a reading.
Yes, always. What's on your mind?
Okay, so I think my baby father's sleeping with the girl next door.
What?
And yes, because she always looking at me funny. She never really speak. But every time I'm with him, it's like she speak and be giggly, like doing this like a side eye thing. I think it's like a woman's intuition thing. He say I'm tripping, but I know I'm not. He don't do nothing for me, nothing for my kids. And the other day I found like a Gucci receipt in his armrest. And just coincidentally, she had like some
Alright, we're
Gucci
gonna
shoes.
figure. Hello, everybody. It's your girl dazzle.tarot, and I'm back for another live tarot reading and chat. So please like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel and the notification bell so you can be notified of when I upload and when I go live. And if you would like to book a private reading, everything is going to be in the description box. All right, just check that out. All right, so look. So I just did like this reading. So I was doing this so I did 2 readings, right, on Nicki Minaj, right? And I did talk about the whole Breakfast Club thing with Gucci Man and Keyshia who was his wife. And he was, because he has a book and he's pushing his book. So he's on the Breakfast Club to talk about it. And what it's about is that it's his mental health struggles, right? He came out and admitted in his book that he had schizophrenia. He was diagnosed with that. And basically, the struggles he faced before, treating it and things like that, and the things that he would do and how he would act and his triggers and things like that. And, it rubbed Nicki Minaj the wrong way. And, I did speak on that and I did read on that in my second recent video, the most recent video that I uploaded, and I pretty much was talking about how a hit dog will holler, and to Nicki and her conspiratory mind feels like Gucci Man is like a puppet who was paid to go online. To go on the Breakfast Club, who obviously has a problem with Nicki Minaj, if you ask her, and basically, bring up schizophrenia, and he is pretty much being handled by his handler, who is his wife. So that's the narrative that she had put out there, pretty much, and people are running with that narrative. And I say, well, I heard clips of the video of the interview, but I wanted to hear the whole interview with you guys, and I wanted to also hear what Nicki was saying. So I said to myself, let's go ahead and go live and get into it, because we're going to do a reading about Gucci Man and I said Coochie Girl and Keyshia We're going to do a reading about them, pretty much because of what Nicki said. People, I feel, because mental health is always a great topic to bring up, especially for us, the Black community, who have a lot of stigma against mental health. We're very suspicious of doctors who diagnose us with mental health disorders and the medication that they give us. We're very suspicious of it, and pretty much I think it's a good conversation. And what Nicki Minaj did was point a finger at Keyshia for saying that, oh, she's always wanted to be me and things like that. And so now the public is looking at her like she's a handler and she's weird, and they're using everything she says, and they're pretty much, turning it against her with suspicion. And also they're being suspicious towards him. So the conspiratory minds of people is like, oh, he's glitching, and he's a clone. And what about the hand signals he's making? He's wearing sunglasses. Oh, and mental health is nothing but demonic possession, things like that, right? And don't get me wrong, there is something called demonic possession. You can you can be tainted by some type of lower unclean entity. I mean, apparently you can. But also, there is a such thing as real life. In real life, people do have, like I said, chemical imbalances, and sometimes we do have to get them addressed. People are prone to that. It is what it is. And that's what I've been saying in these videos so far. Take care of your health, take care of your mental health. If you have to get yourself back in line, then do it. Nothing wrong with it. There should be no stigma. There should be no, I gotta hide this. We should be open about it. The more you talk about it, the less stigma it has. So I'm going to listen to the interview. We're going to listen to it. And we're going to also listen to what Nicki Minaj has said. Right now, this is the Breakfast Club. And, I don't know if they flag people, get mad at people. But we're going to figure it out. So, first of all, let's start off with what Nicki Minaj said. Right? Because we're going to treat it like we never watched the the interview, and we're just looking at clips, and we decided to listen to Nicki Minaj first and then go back to the interview. That's what we're going to do, because that's what a lot of these fans did. That's what a lot of these viewers did, right? So we're going to listen to the Breakfast Club talking about how Nicki Minaj calls out Keyshia in the Breakfast Club. Okay, so let's start. All right, hold on. Let's do this. Oh, they paying bills. They paying bills. Hold on. Let's see.
Hello, cool babe, big string bean, asparagus.
Okay, let's see. Let's move forward.
They've been hooking you up. We're doing something with. So make sure you guys are. She married Keyshia, his wife, and she says,
"Hold on, y'all.
Gucci's wife has been trying to be me for years, been dying for the spotlight for years. She's there to keep Gucci sedated. Gucci hates Deb Anthony, who's Waka Flocka's mom. They don't want Deb around me. She's around me now. Charlamagne the fraud, Jay-Z's friend and business associate, using iHeartRadio for these disgusting ploys against innocent families. He was around Wendy before her life went to hell. The buck stops here, baby. Bookmark this tweet. Y'all really do not understand who I really am. Bring it, let's play. Y'all wanted attention, let's do it. Then she starts talking to the LAPD about something we have nothing to do with. And she's saying to Republic Records that they need to stand up for her any day now. Then she says you'll regret it. Now, I've been going down a rabbit hole.
Why did this happen?
Okay, so she's talking about basically that's his handler, and she's basically shoving medication down Gucci Mane's throat. Also, she's talking about Deb Anthony or whatever, because Deb Anthony did do an interview taking up for Nicki Minaj, saying that Gucci Mane, never messed with Nicki Minaj, and he hated her for it. And also the industry tried to give her $5 million to distance herself from Nicki Minaj. Now, here's the thing. All that could be true. But what I also know is people don't tell you everything. So how does Deb Anthony know for a fact let me put the screen back up because I got to do my readings too while I'm doing this, right? So how does Deb Anthony know for a fact what Gucci Mane and Nicki Minaj has ever done? And if we're going to be honest, just because, someone's having the episode, because that's what he was talking about during the interview, is that when he said that in 2013, I believe, he was talking about how he was having an episode and he was just being disrespectful and just coming off the dome with these disrespectful tweets, right? And one of them was talking about how Nicki Minaj gave him head, or basically he fucked Nicki Minaj, right? But since then, he apologized, cleared it up, things like that, right? And Nicki Minaj and him was said to have basically bygones be bygones, the situation, right? But pretty much Deb Anthony had claimed that the higher ups offered her $5 million to distance herself from Nicki Minaj. And we're going to ask, did that actually happen? Okay? So we're going to be using the Guiding Light Tarot deck. And we're going to ask, did the industry, did the higher ups, did the powers that be, because she didn't say exactly who gave her. But see, here's the thing. If you're going to tell it all. Stop saying the people, the higher ups, like the the powers that be. Who are the powers that be? Be more technical. And when you be vague like that, it's unbelievable to me. Tell me who did it to you. That's just like if, somebody shot me and I'm like, the enemy tried to take me out. The enemy. And I'm telling the police that, and they're like, well, we have to know who the enemy is. Who shot you? Do you know? Yes, I know. Who was it? The enemy. It doesn't make sense to me. So let's go ahead. Let's ask these questions, right? So did someone actually offer Deb Antony money, $5 million, to distance herself from Nicki Minaj? The Magician in the reverse. So there was a man trying to manipulate a situation. Manipulation, communication. Okay. King of Swords, the Temperance. Okay. So there was a man who came and tried to manipulate a situation. But someone used their good discernment. They wanted to be truthful, honorable, and just. And they wanted to bring balance to the situation. They wanted to actually keep the partnership or keep whatever connection they had. Right? So really, I think there was a man who came in and tried to manipulate a situation. Okay? And tried to, pretty much talk to Deb Antony and stuff and tried to give her an offer. Right? But, yeah, that's her. And, that's a righteous decision. I believe so. So Deb Antony isn't lying about that. Right? But why? Oh, yeah. Why? Because they wanted people to distance them. Well, Deb Antony wasn't lying. They wanted people to distance themselves from Nicki Minaj because obviously he had a falling out with her or whatever. Something happened with them, those two. So he was trying to suppress her by like getting people away from her, right? So that's not a lie. But like I keep saying, many things can be true at once, right? So then we gotta ask this: did Gucci Mane actually have sex with Nicki Minaj in any way? Because the truth of the matter is, just because someone is having an episode doesn't mean they're lying about everything. And just because Deb Antony said he never did anything with her doesn't mean that he never did anything with her. You know what I'm saying? Because she wasn't dead. How does she know that she ain't suck a little dick every now and again? How do you know that? Was you there? Are you there to witness these things? So let's see. Did Gucci Mane and Nicki Minaj have any type of sexual interaction? 1, 2, 3. The Hierophant, inappropriate behavior. Some inappropriate stuff did happen between him and Gucci. Between her and Gucci. Whew. Then it says something about plans aren't working, right? Injustice is upright. So I think something inappropriate happened, but to what extent it didn't go as far as he wanted it to go. So, and then things went into her favor, right? But now here's the part where things didn't align to go the way that he wanted to go. But there was a little bit of inappropriate shit going on. So she could have did a little bit of something, right? But they didn't go all the way. That could be allegedly. But, Gucci Mane used to be. Now, when he talked about how he used to act, Gucci Mane used to be one of them dudes, them disrespectful ass hood dudes. Okay? That want to be in your face, is trying to talk to you and stuff, and you don't know how they really are, so you let them have your number or some shit, and you give them a little try, but they overbearingly, like, if they don't have their way, they disrespectful as fuck. That's what Gucci Mane was. So basically, a little bit of something did happen, but it didn't happen all the way. And basically, the minute that he felt the way, he got real disrespectful. And that's the type of stuff he would do. He'd blurt out some disrespectful shit. Probably called her all types of bitches and hoes and rollers and shit. Oh, you sucked my dick, bitch. Which is probably true, but probably not all the way true. Like, she probably ain't suck it all the way. She probably felt on it, but she was sucking some dick. But it ain't go to a whole fuck, you know. So let's see. But he did apologize, right? So let's see. Let's keep going though. So that's what Nicki Minaj has said upon her, upon Keyshia Ka'oir. And Keyshia Ka'oir, she said wanted to be just like her. So does Keyshia Ka'oir sincerely want to be like Nicki Minaj? Is that the case? 1, 2, 3. Does Keyshia Ka'oir sincerely want to be? The Emperor is up, right? The 8 of Cups is in the reverse. The 9 of Pentacles is in the reverse. Okay, if the Emperor is upright, Keyshia Ka'oir does not want to be like Nicki Minaj. Keyshia Ka'oir is actually pretty much a dominant person. And some females are more, even if they dress feminine, some females can want to be more masculine. I feel like Keyshia Ka'oir has her I believe if anybody had someone that they look up to, I think that Keyshia Ka'oir actually looks up to a man. Okay? I think she looks up to a man. And she likes the dominant role. Also, the 8 of Cups is in the reverse, okay? And also, the 9 of Pentacles is in the reverse. I think that Keyshia Ka'oir could have and should have left that relationship, left that marriage that she was in. But she did have a feeling that she wouldn't be able to be financially stable. So she stayed within her marriage and she tried to fix it. And in order to do so, she pretty much seen that she can be dominant in it. So in that sense, no. Because to be honest, Keyshia does not want to be the patient. She wants to be the doctor. Okay? She wants to be the doctor. She doesn't want to be the wife. She wants to be the husband. You know, in that way, right? But even though she does want to be the wife, you see what I'm saying? But she takes a more dominant role. She takes a more leading role. Okay, she wants to say when and where, right? But if it's about trying to be like Nicki, what is Spirit saying? No. And she doesn't want to be like Nicki. She wants to be like Nicki financially. Yes, that is true. That is true. But this friction, like Nicki got a grudge against Keyshia. She do. And the back is like jealousy. 3 of Cups is up right though. But it's like a celebratory thing. Right? But some people could say it's gossip. Some people could say it's jealousy. But 3 of Cups to me is a celebration, a celebratory thing. So to me, at some point, I think that she probably did admire how Nicki, you know, her being an independent woman, her having money, things like that, her being, you know, in her creative bag, things like that. I think that she admired that. But her goal is to be in a masculine position, right? However that may be. But see, the thing is, Nicki Minaj has a problem with her man, with Gucci. Not Keyshia Ka'oir, but she's attacking her. She doesn't like Gucci, right? That's who she doesn't like, right? But it's funny because the same symptoms that Gucci has had for mental illness, Nicki Minaj seems to be exhibiting too. So the same way that he can be extremely mean, saying vicious stuff, Nicki can do the same. Okay, so let's see. So let's keep going with this. We're gonna go ahead and just go to the Breakfast Club interview with Gucci Mane and Keyshia Ka'oir. Let's go.
What is it that makes an SUV?
Oh, they're paying bills again, y'all. Hold on.
Is it the capability?
All right. Let's move forward. Here we go.
What I need to do to get better, I just never want to have that happen again. And then my wife was pregnant with my little boy. I'm like, I don't want to raise a family and then my mental health gone. What if I have an episode I can't come back from? You know what I'm saying? So I just like starting to do the work and like started seeking the help.
And Keyshia, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
Because we always have conversations about the people who have to deal with the individuals with the mental health issues. No, it feels like nobody ever speaks to y'all.
It's tough.
What made you not run? Because you could have ran. You could have been like, I'm out. Nah, this ain't for me. But you stood 10 toes down and said, I'm going.
I experienced him going through episodes before we were married. And I was like, man, somebody got to help this guy. Mm-hmm. It was really, really bad. It's really sad because you're seeing someone you don't know. They're saying things to you that are disrespectful, so mean. And you have to just like, but I'm not talking to Gucci. Who is this person? Right. Mm-hmm. So I felt like if I left, he wouldn't have been the same. He needed someone to help him. And then when we were supposed to get married, someone said to me, you know, you're going to have to deal with this through your marriage, right? And I'm like, I'm cool with it. I'm going to fix him. You know.
How heavy was that for you?
But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like based on those little cards I pulled, and I'm asking, is she jealous or trying to be Nicki? No, I think that Keyshia Kayor wants to have the dominant role. That's who she's striving to be. You know, her, person that she looks up to, I believe, is like a masculine figure. And I think that with Gucci, the reason why she didn't leave Gucci, because she said she wanted to fix him, but you can't fix no goddamn body. Let's be more clear. What it sounds like to me is that Keyshia wanted to be in that position because, yes, she loved him, but also she's seen that she can play a dominant role and she can be the leader when it comes to that because he was unwell. So she didn't mind that. She didn't mind coming in and fixing. She wants to be a healer. She wants to be the one that makes the schedule. She wants to control it, right? It's a good type of control and a bad type of control. So obviously, whatever she's doing for him is working for him, though. I will give her that.
For you, though, because the fixing isn't like an overnight thing.
No.
I saw Gucci, you did Big Facts, and you were talking about how one time you said to him, I should record this so that you can see, because he wouldn't even remember some of the things he was doing, but it would you'd be like, oh my God, like what's happening right now? Yeah. How heavy was it in the process of trying to help him get better?
There was one point I had to just go on my knees and pray. Because it's like, he's like, I don't like you. I mean, the things he would say are really, really bad. And I just have to take a deep breath. Like I said, I'm not talking to you right now. You want to sit here and be crazy alone? I'm not going to allow you to be crazy alone. Yeah. So I have to
Oh, and then speaking of Nicki, because she wanted to align herself with this interview for some reason. Somebody said she be in there. I forgot. I don't know if I said it or I heard somebody else said it. They said she really do be in that house by herself. That big old mansion. Kendra be on one side of the mansion and she be on the other side. So what she do is she get an attitude like a Gucci or whatever and want to be by herself. And instead of Kenneth actually seeing the signs of mental illness, he doesn't care. You just let her be at her own devices and do whatever she wants to do. Okay, which is crazy to me. But I'm not going to use the word crazy, which is weird to me, because as a husband, as a partner, you should be on the lookout for these things in your partner, right? And when they're starting to act certain ways, you should put them aside and let them know and try to get them to be the best version of them. If that means go get help and things like that. Is Kenneth Petty doing that for Nicki? It makes me feel like he isn't, right? So let's ask this question. Let me put me back on the screen. Is Kenneth Petty, we're going to do the T. When Nicki Minaj is having any type of mental health episode or whatever, and she's going through whatever she's going through, is Kenneth Petty actually trying to help her do it, or does he leave her alone and let her succumb to her own devices? What does he do? Let's get the tea. 1, 2, 3. He travels. He leaves. He goes other places, okay? He doesn't stay. Gives her time to cool off and reflect. And he feels like it's a waste of time to even talk to her about anything because it's not going to change how she is and whatever. But whatever he's doing, while he's doing that, he's dusting evidence off, cleaning up his phone about where he's been and shit like that. So he's not really helping her. Okay. So it's obvious that something's going on where it's though, hey, what if it's not mental illness? She can be just stuck in her ways. He leaves her to her own devices a lot of times. So that's a problem within the marriage. That really is. What's up, Vibe with AD? Okay, so let's finish, girl. I did like a little pop-up live almost because I really wanted to listen to Keyshia and Gucci Mane's interview, and I wanted to, pretty much see what they were talking about and see if what Nicki Minaj saying was accurate or not, and why was she so triggered, even though I already know why she's triggered. But yeah, so let's figure this out. But yeah.
Like at one point I called his attorney, I called some bodyguards, and I just planned a whole kidnap, and we kidnapped him and took him to the hospital because
she put him on the 5150 hold. You're not too late. Basically, I'm just going over the interview, girl. I'm just going over the interview and doing readings and stuff as I go, just to see if it was right or wrong. But just a little quick update based on what I was reading. Deb Etney is not lying when somebody was trying to give her $5 million to separate from Nicki Minaj. My reading said that, so there's some truth to that. And also, there is truth to Gucci Mane doing something with Nicki Minaj, but it wasn't as much as he probably let on. So maybe she did suck a little dick, but it was nothing serious. You know what I'm saying? She ain't go full throttle or something like that. But with a fuckboy, because technically that's what Gucci Mane was acting like in his throes of addiction and mental illness. He was acting like a fuckboy. You know those dudes that want to talk to you, like I said, and when you don't do what they ask you to do, they got a problem with it. They be sitting here talking shit. And they all of a sudden call you all types of hoes and bitches and shit. Especially if you stop answering their phone call. They're going to be like, oh, she's such a hoe. She's such a roller. But the whole time they want you to see them and stuff. So, yeah.
Because we could not get him to the hospital. And he was trying to fight them and everything, but it was 6 of them. He couldn't handle it. And we threw him in the car. He would try to jump out the car. So we put him in the center of the car, And that was like his last episode.
No, that's a 5150, right? That's what they call it? No.
When you go to the
Yeah, but they try to do things where he could sign himself out, and I'm like, he's not signing. Like, I'm stern with them. He's not signing himself out. I'm his wife, and I'm his power of attorney. He ain't going nowhere. Mm-hmm. Like, I have to be strict. It's kind of like you have to go in mother mode, and put your foot down.
Were you ever scared?
I wasn't never scared he would hurt me. People were scared for me, but it's a scary moment. Yeah.
Because I asked her that, was she scared? And she was like, I'm not scared of you.
I tell him all the time, I'm not scared of you, so we gonna figure this out.
Again, there is a bit of controlling aspect to it. But to be honest, the good thing for Gucci, and here's what I'm gonna say about that. The good thing about Gucci Mane and her and Keyshia K'O's relationship, sometimes you need somebody to be controlling towards you. You know what I'm saying? Like he's addicted or whatever to lean at the moment, and he's suffering from mental breakdowns and stuff, right? So you need somebody to say no. I like her take on it. Yeah, because you need somebody to say no. You need somebody to be like, no, you're not leaving this hospital. You need to stay here and get well. You need somebody who's going to be stern with you and be real with you. You don't need these stands. Cool, you live again. Yes, girl. Yes. Hey. Yeah, so yeah, you need somebody who's gonna be real with you and not gonna just sugarcoat stuff. No, you can't have no more to drink. No, you can't have no more to smoke. No, you can't do this. And I think he needed that because he needed some type of he needed some restrictions, right? So people take that as being overly controlling. No, that's not that all the time. You're dealing with a sick person. Yeah, there are signs that people catch on to. Yeah, but you're dealing with someone with mental illness and addiction. Sick people have to have a regimen. Sick people do, yeah. I knew people have episodes. You can see when things change in people. Yes. You can see it. You can see when they start acting different. You can see where it's starting to flare up and stuff. With him, like Keyshia was about to say, what she already said, he started like talking to her crazy. Like, all of a sudden she's a bitch this, a hoe that, stop fucking playing with me. You said it's funny because I thought she was controlling, looking from the outside, but it makes a little bit more sense now. Yeah, but see, she's supposed, and then mind you, I just did like a little mini reading for her. And technically, because I was asking, was she trying to be like Nicki? No. Her person that she looks up to is a masculine figure. She wants to be masculine. She wants to be in control. But this is the perfect situation for her because he needed somebody to control his shit, to help him stay in line. Yeah, sidebar, what does your banner in the back say? Oh, in the back it say Dazzle that live chat. That's what it say, Dazzle that live chat. Damn, I forgot all about that banner. Usually I take a thumbnail and put it up there, but I just stopped doing it because I've been being lazy, right? But yeah. But pretty much, that's what he needed. So if that's what one needs to move ahead, then that's all good for me. That's a good thing, right? I don't knock it. But let me see. Let's keep on going.
Like I have to get gangster with him because and I'm like, all right, we gonna see. Yeah. Let's do this.
In the Ice Cream Fever Dream chapter, Gucci, you said that you said when you need help, the only person you can rely on is yourself. Yes. Why did you feel that way in that moment?
The days you move more are the days you need more from your water.
Okay, so now they paying bills again, y'all. That's some bullshit. All right, back.
Especially with like, you really the only person you can do. Like, you got to do the work yourself. You know what I'm saying? If you want to like really get better, people can want it for you, but you still got to want it more than they do. You know what I'm saying? You got to want it. You got to do the work. You got to live with it. You know what I'm saying? So that's probably why I said that.
Ooh, and he makes another point too. A lot of people, like with me, I'll be honest with y'all. I'm not gonna hold back. I was drinking and smoking cigarettes, 90 going north, child. Okay, and to be honest with you, I stopped drinking when I found out I was pregnant, right? But it wasn't because I was pregnant that I stopped drinking. I wanted to stop drinking like that anyway because I started feeling bad. But it was never about me being pregnant. That's the thing, right? Because, people still drink while they're pregnant. But I stopped because I wanted to. Outside of pregnancy, right? So I had to get that up. And as far as smoking, I quit smoking. And it wasn't because I was pregnant, but because I had an increased ferritin count, right? And I told y'all that in my last reading, right? So I was taking some blood tests and stuff, and they was like, everything is cool. Your iron levels is cool, but your ferritin levels is high. And I walked in, and they told me I had to do a follow-up. So I finally do my follow-up, and I'm at the Cancer Institute, right? So I gotta walk in Washington Hospital Center and go to the Cancer Institute, and I'm thinking, because I looked up ferritin and what that means, and I'm like, oh my god, like, girl, you can have a fatty liver. It can be that, it might be iron. It can be, things like that. I'm pregnant now. I stopped smoking, but I'm pregnant now. So it can be signs of what, like I told y'all last time, hyperglycemia, or a sign that you might have a preterm pregnancy or whatever, or you may have some type of cancer. So when I was going to the cancer center / oncology hematology division of Washington Hospital Center, I thought to myself, this is it. I thought I was going to die, girl. I thought I had cancer. Girl. So I just stopped. I'm scared to even smoke a cigarette. and it's because I'm pregnant, but it's not just because I'm pregnant. He said that's true. His biography, he said she was the only one there for him when he was locked down. Keyshia got a lot of respect from that interview holding her husband down. Yeah, she got a lot of respect until Nicki Minaj came out and called her a handler and saying that she was keeping them drugged up. And it's another Wendy Williams thing. And like I said in my last video, Wendy Williams actually walked herself into a conservatorship. The funny thing about Wendy Williams, like I said in my last video, is that when shit was happening, yes, you said yes, please take care of your health, especially now. It's so important. Yes, it is. And even though I stopped smoking, stopped drinking, it still didn't matter because I still had to go. I still got to go and get a liver ultrasound done just to see how much I've been partying. So, in these streets, all those years of me and you partying, us friends to the end. Yeah, girl. So, but the good thing to Halo, though, is that I view this pregnancy is not just my rainbow baby, but also a lifestyle change, like, period. Like, yeah, girl. A lot of things has changed for old Dazzle. A lot. I'll tell you that much. And it's not. I'm like, well, who am I going to be? But yeah, yeah. But like I said, Wendy Williams did walk herself into a conservatorship. At one point, when things was going downhill, her sister did step up at one of her hearings in court, and basically she was telling the judge, like, she will, sign to be her guardian or whatever the case may be. And basically Wendy Williams said hell to the nah in front of the judge. She was like, I don't want her to be my guardian or whatever the case may be, because she's not going to allow me to drink and do what I want to do. So with that being said, Wendy Williams walked herself into a conservatorship with some random lady that she doesn't know that was at the bank. You said it's okay, you'll adopt, yeah. And then it was like, but doesn't Nicki's husband keep her coked up and stealing her money? Well, I'll tell you what he does. Apparently, based on Tarot and Oracle, he is taking money and he is going and taking it to the sluts. He goes to the sluts, okay? Which makes sense because he leaves her alone with her own devices. The internet, coke, pills, drinking, whatever she's doing, okay? He leaves her alone with her own devices, and he goes out and he used that Amex cards on the sluts, okay? The sluts, the hoes. Like I said in the last video, it might be the chat line hoes, it might be the Instagram hoes, it might be the Twitter hoes, it might be the Backpage hoes, it might be the Craigslist hoes, it might be the motherfucking, all types of shit. Right, she be off on them lives. Yeah, she sound off. And the whole time her like I said in the last reading, what her fans do is that they find ways to basically justify whatever she's doing. They don't see her clearly. They don't want to see her clearly. They just justify and kiss her ass, which is going to hurt her in the long run. Because she needs people around her that will act like a Keyshia K'Or. But the problem is, Nicki wants to be the masculine one. Nicki wants to say when and how. You think it's her husband stealing the money? Oh, yeah, mismanaging the funds. Cardi B been said that. Yeah, Cardi been said that. It's her husband taking a lot of that shit. And then if you notice, with the stylists and stuff that she blamed, she never actually said their names initially. Notice that. But she goes to Tasha K and she says a name to her so she can repeat. Okay? So it doesn't come from her mouth. Right? So what she's doing is saying that she has an investigation and she made a police report. But my whole thing is, before you accuse people, why don't you just get the whole investigation done and have the police actually identify the culprits instead of you doing it if you don't know for a fact who they are, right? So really what you're really doing is you're slandering people and you're hurting their business as well, you know. And yeah. So I think it's that. And mind you, these people, she knew their past already. She knew they was doing credit card and boosting clothes or whatever the hell they was doing in their past. She knew that. But she still hired them anyway. She said her husband was her dealer before they got married. So he already know. So, I mean, but then again, no, I mean, if he ain't good. They fucking. He getting money. He got a mansion. When he feel whatever or she feels some type of way, he get to roll out. Whole time he supposed to be monitored where he go, right? Or but it don't matter because he catching flights and stuff. He go wherever he want to go. And he deal with females other than Nicki. And he be giving them money. He be tricking off on them. So, I mean, he living the life. He living the life that a sexual offender will only dream to live. So, I mean, what's T? I mean, I don't know. What's T? But let's keep going.
The reason I asked is because you start the book off talking about Big Scar. And, you and Keyshia definitely helped Big Scar in that moment when he was having yeah, so, I mean, you did help somebody.
Nah, I was trying my best to save Scar. Mm-hmm. I was trying my best to save Scar. And, like, even he was a big inspiration for the book as well. But
okay, so basically he's talking about all the people that he helped too, right? Now, he also gets mad at the fact, he also talks about the fact that it hurt his feelings about, about all the people that he helped now, don't deal with him or whatever the case may be. And just to wrap it up, because I don't feel like I want to do the whole thing, because I don't want to get like copyright, whatever. But just to wrap it up, he apologized for the things he said about people. And, I feel like that's big of him to apologize when he, would go on these rants because he was having an episode. And basically one of the things and one of the people he was talking about was Nicki Minaj, right? And Keyshia K'Or follows up and was like, she wanted to like reach out to people and things like that. And I also think I should listen to that part because I think that's when Keyshia K'Or was talking about how she wanted to reach out to Nicki Minaj and be a therapist to her. Now, mind you, here's the thing. I think Keyshia K'Or needs to go to school and become licensed to be a therapist and things like that, right? Because she is actually, now, Jamaicans and, whatever. A lot of foreign people, they come in the U.S. and they start doing shit like, getting an RN license, all types of stuff, right? But Keyshia Carroll is not licensed, but she is charging like $500 and something, I think, to be a therapist for people. $500 and something an hour. And I'm like, what? What? Can you do that without being licensed? But however, people didn't care about it until the Barbs picked it up. Yeah, she could be a life coach. Why not be a life coach? Why a therapist? Yeah, she can be a life coach. Right? So people want to make it seem like she's scamming and she is Gucci Mane's handler. You know, the conspiratory mindset of it all is that Gucci Mane is a clone. He's being drugged up and he's being handled by Keyshia Carroll and the powers that be. And they're using him to speak against Nicki Minaj by bringing up schizophrenia. Because the whole thing is supposed to be that we're supposed to be getting ready to put Nicki in the conservatorship. And to be honest, that is, and like I said, I keep referencing my last video that I did. I feel like, and I noticed this amongst people who are having episodes and people who are experiencing some type of chemical imbalance, they start getting very conspiratorial. They start like blaming shit like the powers that be. And yeah, that's a mighty long stretch. Yes. But unfortunately, people are believing it. And if you go in the Breakfast Club comments, they're hinting at it, but they're not just saying it. They're like, oh, but what about the hand signals that he's doing? Can you talk? Can you point out that? Or I don't know. She just gives me controlling, like a handler. Yeah, because it's coming from Nicki, right? And they're believing it because they rather believe that than to believe that Nicki can be out of alignment because that's their God. And they don't want to believe that their God is flawed. Even though in reality, she's just a human being. She bleeds like you and me. You know, they deified her. That's the problem. And that's going to be her downfall because she already has a God complex. She doesn't want to be told anything. I'm pretty sure that she probably was told, you know, that she had to do this or do that. And she doesn't want to do it because it might block her creativity. She won't be as colorful as she once was. And how dare you tell me there's something wrong with me and there ain't nothing wrong with me. There's something wrong with everybody else. And people who's having episodes, they really do feel like somebody is out to get them. Okay? And it's always everything else but them. And then you have people like Tasha K, like I said in another video, who is sitting there trying to tell you that when on station, you know, Spaces, Station Head, whatever, talking about how you know, doctors like to misdiagnose people all the time. And, you know, they want to put you on this medication. But to be honest, I feel like that's dangerous rhetoric to speak to people sometimes. Because the fact is, like I said last time, not every single doctor is misdiagnosing you and trying to put you on medication that you shouldn't be on. Not everybody's trying to get you. Sometimes you do need to be on medication. Like I said in my last video, I keep saying this over, it's getting repetitive. If your blood pressure is 130 over 180 or some shit, maybe you do need to go figure out what's going on with you. If you're experiencing heart flutters, it's not the fucking powers that be that poked you with a syringe. Maybe your ass might be on the verge of having a heart attack. Maybe you should go to the doctors. Maybe you should get on some type of, I don't know, beta blockers, whatever the fuck going on. People be sitting here, but see, people allow people to think like that. And I don't feel like you should think like that all the time. You know, nobody's going to listen. But see, people want to listen to the conspiracy. They don't want to listen to the truth. They like the conspiracy better. But, yeah. It's very funny. It's very weird, y'all. It's very weird to me. So, let's see. Let's see the tea. Give me the energy surrounding Nicki. I said Nicki Minaj. Okay. How does Nicki Minaj? No, let's do this. How does Nicki Minaj feel about Keyshia Ka'oir for real? But I told you she's really mad at Gucci Mane. She's not mad at Keyshia. She's just picking on Keyshia. She's been a cyberbully to Keyshia. So, how does she really feel about Keyshia Ka'oir? And we're just going to do what's tea so we can get some shits and giggles from 1, 2, 3. Running. Basically, she really does feel like Keyshia Ka'oir does copy her and steal all her ideas, steal anything. She's a copycat, and what she does. The bitch is like a moth to the flame. She can't help but to take my swag. And first of all, I can't trust this bitch. We in secret competition. And I got a feeling that she don't like females. And she mad because her man low-key crying over me. That's what she feels about Keyshia Ka'oir. Okay, so let's get that past that. Okay, so Gucci Mane and Keyshia Ka'oir. Give me some energy surrounding their marriage. Let's ask that question. 1, 2, 3. You know, to be honest with y'all, I still don't feel like their marriage is where it should be at. Okay, feeling stuck, no change, basically limited, so some things going on with that. Somebody in that marriage is still holding a grudge. Maybe it's about cheating. Maybe Gucci Mane was doing some cheating and shit. And Keyshia Ka'oir is still holding grudges about it. Stalking, watching, obsessed. I think she micromanages what he does now because she has a grudge about that as well. I told you she wants to be in control sometimes, and sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. And again, she could have left that relationship a long time ago, but she was afraid of not being financially stable in a way. Like, she liked the wealth that they have together. She likes the lifestyle. She likes being Gucci Mane's woman. And she also likes the fact that she can control it, right? She can be the dominant person in it. But it's some things that is getting stale in her relationship. And her and Gucci's relationship. And I do feel like she's still holding on to past hurt when it comes to Gucci, right? And I still feel like she still don't trust him as far as past deeds. So she's still looking at his stuff and everything, right? She's on his ass when it comes to that. So that's weird. But yeah, she's talking about being a therapist. She needs therapy. So that's weird. So here's what I get from all of that. Here's my synopsis. She is helping out Gucci, and Gucci does need someone who will bring stability and organization into his life and to keep him sober and to keep him on the right path. He does need that. Keyshia Ka'oir is really good at that with him. There's some things in their marriage that they need to work on, and I don't think Keyshia Ka'oir trying to help everybody else is really going to actually help her. I think she does have a little bit of control tendencies, and she's still kind of upset and hurt about past things that happened within their marriage, and she needs to actually talk to somebody about that, right? And when it comes to Nicki Minaj, when Nicki Minaj is calling her a handler, I think that's a harsh term. That is his life partner. That is his wife. And if anything happens to someone, their partner should jump up to the plate and do what has to be done. Okay? Also, of course, she's using it to her advantage. Most people will. They won't say that, but most people will. Just a little bit, right? So let's see. Also with Nicki Minaj, a lot of it is a hit dog a holler. So she actually feels triggered by it because some of what he is saying she can relate to. Unfortunately, she can relate to those episodes because she has them too. Okay. Also, she's being very conspiratory to pretty much negate whatever Gucci Mane is saying about mental health. Okay. And her fans are eating it up and trying to change the conversation from a black man expressing that yes, he has mental health to now it's a black man who's being drugged by his wife and handled by his wife. And the powers that be paid them to talk about schizophrenia instead of it actually him just talking about his life and his experience. So, and she's a spiritual hater. And she also does not like females. And to be honest, she actually attacks women surrounding the men that she's actually upset with. Like if you look at Beyonce, she's not mad at Beyonce. She's mad at Jay-Z, but she's going to attack Beyonce. She wasn't mad at SZA. She was mad at the guys behind SZA. But she's going to attack SZA. It's a lot of men that she's actually mad at. Because a lot of it is male identified. She wants to be masculine. Just like Keyshia Ka'oir is masculine. Right? And then when it comes to Keyshia Ka'oir wanting to be like Nicki, she wants to be like her as far as money. But Keyshia Ka'oir is a dominant female. And two dominant females are not going to get along. They would never get along. Okay? Because Keyshia Ka'oir wants control and Nicki Minaj wants control. And matter of fact, Keyshia Ka'oir will be trying to fix Nicki, and Nicki won't feel like she needs to be fixed. And they'll get into it and they'll fight. Yep. So even though Keyshia got her own problems to fix, that's what I'm getting from all that. But that's what I got in a nutshell. You see. But yes, she feels empowered. She feels empowered in the position that she is in, helping her husband. So that's what I'm getting from all of that, which is a hot mess. But was Nicki Minaj right? Not per se. She took a truth, like I told y'all that she does, and she puts her narrative on it. She take a little bit out of it and add some shit that ain't there in it. All types of shit, which makes it a lie. She turned a truth and twisted it. That's what she did. Okay? Which makes it a lie. So technically, she's not telling the truth. The truth is, his ass is schizophrenic, and bitch, you got problems too. And the shit that he was talking about, bitch, you've been experiencing. So you mad. And you don't like him, even though that y'all squashed the issues that y'all had. You're not really over that. You're still holding the grudge. So maybe the dick wasn't that good to suck and you got that way. Allegedly. But all right, y'all. I'm gone. So I talked as much as I was going to talk. I love y'all for real. Peace. And